Well, I think that often I was not so prominently displayed, but I did have the opportunity of working together and had a relationship with each of them. And sometimes there would be times when I could be a part of a leveler or try to bring us together because I had some idea of what each had shared, what each was thinking. But then there were times that people worried about me because they saw me knitting. And I will never forget, Carl Holman came out of a meeting one day at the Civil Rights, we're planning a Civil Rights Conference, and he said that the chairman worried that I was knitting. And so I said, oh, you know, Eleanor Roosevelt knit all the time. But I said, you know, sometimes I listen much better when I'm knitting. When we got back in the meeting and I challenged what had just been done, the chairman came to me afterwards and said, I will never complain about your knitting. Because he said, he realized that I'd heard every word. And I think, while sometimes people daydream, if you're knitting, your mind is right where you are because I don't have to learn it. I know it. It's just an activity. Mm-hmm. Other people doodle.
Yes, and I had read that at one point, and this may have been an ongoing thing that you had occasionally had to do, that in some of the all-male get-togethers, and you'd be sitting there knitting or whatever, that you on a couple of occasions said something like, well, to sort of calm things down, if you would listen to a mere woman or something, the opinion of a mere woman. Were you ever...
Well, I never used the term a mere woman, but I would say that, well, I'll give you an example. Early on, when SNCC was not a part of the United Civil Rights Leadership Group, there was real resistance because it seemed that they were kicking over all of the gains that already had been made. And I had to say, well, as a woman, I cannot sit here and not say that I think we have to have our youth here with us around the table. There was no resistance to it, but they did it. And I think that sometimes it's a matter of being willing to risk speaking up and doing it in a way that helps people understand that you're trying to move something forward. It is not a resistance, it's an effort to move it forward.
How difficult, oops, I'm sorry, is everything okay? How difficult was it for you occasionally to be the only woman in that group? As you said, you were not prominently displayed, as you put it.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the, what were some of the touchy points or difficulties of kind of being the woman in that group for you?
I have to honestly say, I felt that we were a group of peers. I felt at home in the group. There were times when the men differed with each other, and I could help bridge the gap. But I never felt that I needed to fight as a woman. It is true that several times people pointed out to me, and we had a real incident of that often when the pictures were made, that I was on the end and I might be cut off and things of that sort. But in terms of the working relationship, I have to say, I had great respect for those men. Many times in the women's movement, they've asked me, well, why didn't you step forward? Who steps ahead of Martin Luther King Jr. when you're in a march? Do you see? I mean, I think that for me, there's always a way of looking at who am I in this situation and what do I do? And if I can help move it, or if I can help bridge, I try to do that.